what would be the operative thing? What would be the right thing, the good thing, the the positive thing to do, the positive thing for fans to do to finally say to Disney, "No, enough." Like go cold turkey, like we've seen with Anheuser-Busch. It would take a great deal of sacrifice among a lot of people. And so here are a couple things that fans need to be aware of. Like you will not be able to change the culture for the better until you understand these two very very important things. The first thing is you do have to accept a huge level of friction in your day. The best way I can explain that is my own personal experience. I have listened to one or two YouTube channels for a number of years, or at least a number of months, that I've gotten used to. They would have videos I would cook my dinner with and eat my dinner while listening to them. Maybe I'd listen to them while working on something in the background, doing my own video editing or something like that. Their content has been a part of my routine in one way or another. It's not many channels. It's like one channel, maybe two channels over the course of a year. And as much as I would agree with them socially, religiously, politically, whatever the case is, and as much as I find them very agreeable to listen to, I find them to be very amicable and very likable people. I realized their specific content that is reactionary, that is being a reaction to bad entertainment. I realized that just is not edifying anymore. And even though I don't directly support them with something like super chats or whatever, or super thanks, the actual monetary system that YouTube provides, I still give them the support of my view and attention. Now, withholding my view from them, withholding my clicks, is not any indication of resentment or hostility. But I've realized that, you know what? I have to pull back because I don't believe things are changing for the better. At least for me, in my experience, you guys might disagree. I don't think culture and pop culture in particular and art in particular is changing for the better with this kind of content. With this, I'm going to respond negatively. I'm going to bash this film. I'm going to bash this show. I think this is bad. So what am I going to do? This is friction. Saying no to them and saying no to their commentary is actually going to be a habit I have to break. That is friction. So that's the first thing I'm introducing to you, is to give up a view, to give up a click. It's going to cause some friction in your routine. It's going to cause the breaking of a bad habit. Not calling them bad as people, but it's saying, okay, I got to pull away. And I have to replace it with something else. So I've decided, I'm not entirely successful, but I've decided to replace this kind of commentary that's been used for when I'm cooking a meal and eating dinner. That's just been my routine. Like that's how I've been vegging after a day of work or a day of doing art or something like that, a day of teaching. I'm like, okay, I have to replace it with something. So I've been replacing it with something a little bit more cerebral than I want, because I'm already a cerebral person, but it's been better. It's been either an unbiased philosophy channel, meaning I have no idea where this person in philosophy is, like whether they are in opposite to my views socially or politically, or in complete agreement with my views. So I'm very careful to listen to more philosophy channels, listening to more about philosophy, listening to more about fundamental archetypes, as we would see with storytelling. So a philosophy channel, for instance, an Audible book. So in addition to reading Hyperion for my science fiction reading, I've been listening to historical fiction, and it's been entertaining. It's not as entertaining as commentary on YouTube, but it's still entertaining. It's it's very cerebral. It puts me in a mood that I otherwise would not want to be in. Like, I'm here to just relax and veg and hear people say the things I already know. So, but that's the discipline. I've had to, actually change the channel. I've had to change my focus, refocus my attention on things that better my mind, better my intellect. I feel a little bit more intellectual learning something, or just hearing good fiction. Just hearing good fiction because I'm a writer, so I need to listen to good fiction anyway. Reading it and listening to it. So that's been my change. Friction is something you need to accept if you want the cultural renaissance. If you want a complete removal of Disney's influence and bad entertainment's dominance in the entertainment space, then you have to say, okay, it's probably worthwhile as a fan to stop listening to how bad Star Wars is, for instance. The second thing that is so tough, that is going to be the ultimate sacrifice for a lot of fans, is community. Not only is social commentary on YouTube and the fans' reaction against bad entertainment entertaining, you get instant social engagement. There is community in the comments section. There's affirmation. There's agreement. There's debates. There's people duking it out online. You've got as you're experiencing now with me, you've got live chat. You've got instantaneous engagement with something like YouTube. That is valuable to a lot of people. Now, community is important, but now we have fostered a community, not me with you guys and not with Professor Geek and Fan Man and all those great people. But YouTube as a platform has fostered an incredible, really innumerable communities that have kind of garnered it, like inculcated this, like solidified this identity, that the community that is the fandom, the community that is raising their fists and saying no more, even though they keep getting more. and the problem is, while community is important, we are social creatures, we need social circles. We need engagement to survive. That is good for our heart. That is our hearts and our minds, and in some ways our spirits. But I would say then, if you can't have this community, let's say you do give up the watching of certain commentary. Well, where's your community then? You have to find it somewhere else. Maybe you find it in the dating sphere. Maybe you start going out with people or going out with friends. Maybe you actually start going out with friends. Maybe you have a church. Maybe there are a couple people you like to hang out in school or at work or something like that, or just getting to know your own family even more and just hanging out with family. But there should probably be an actual life replacement. If community is your thing, it's like, well, this is all we have. This is all the family we have. I would try to reassess that in your life, wherever you are, whether in your work situation, in your family situation, if you're going to school, or in your profession. Maybe you are a part of a work or a career, a profession of some kind, where you actually can engage with people in a very positive way. I think the downside, among many downsides of the pandemic, is that we really started just getting incredibly dependent on the social engagement. Now, I think social engagement online, that's what I meant to say. We've become dependent on online social engagement. It can be used very effectively. It can be used in a positive way, but it also has its negative implications. It has the ramifications of you're substituting someone that you don't otherwise share your life with, like in the physical space. And so because of that, the communities have been just locked in tight with the YouTube sphere. Those are the two ultimate works of sacrifice that the fans have to see the change for the better, to see that cultural renaissance that they want so much. They have to understand their friction, and friction means including friction until it becomes a habit. We are creatures of habit. So friction, we have to implement in our lives and saying, okay, for good change to happen, I've got to replace this social commentary with this book, with this um, educational commentary or something like that. So understand the friction of your setting, as I shared with my own life experience. But then also understand that community is the biggest driving factor for a lot of these YouTube channels, and they will continue with such engagement. And I'm not saying engagement is bad. I really do love engagement. I love that we have engagement with this magical thing called the internet. It really is a magical thing. People are like, "What are you talking about?" Like, it's if someone from the 1800s just appeared out of nowhere, well, first of all, that would be magic too. But if they saw, like, I can communicate with the whole world, whoever tunes into me, like, goes through that little portal and sees my face, it's like, whoa, that's magic. So it's really wonderful. But there's a dark side. There's a detrimental angle to being so immersed in community when you see that your community engagement is actually not changing things for the better.